According to Stats Canada, at least 1 in 3 adolescent students in the country have reported being bullied recently. And with the increase of cyberbullying over the last few years, local schools and parents are constantly trying to find new ways to deal with the problem on the playground.
Bullying is when someone or a group of people with more power repeatedly and intentionally causes hurt or harm to another person or group of people who feel helpless to respond.
École Saint-Thomas hosted a special presentation last night to a group of teachers and parents. Trudy Baudouin has been doing similar presentations to various school divisions for the past 17 years and says the topic of bullying is one that's asked a lot about. Now, her presentations focused on the signs of bullying and just what parents can do about it.
It's more about which children become bullies, what are some of the factors around that, why some children seem to become the victims, and also just attitudes that we as parents have at times and our role modeling. Some of the signs as parents, your kids are coming home with, constantly saying, well, I didn't have lunch today, someone stole it.
And it's not a topic that's foreign to Lloydminster school officials. Principal of École Saint-Thomas, Lisa Marie Crease, says staff at her school take all instances of bullying seriously.
It's not just about what do we do to respond to that, it's about teaching our children life skills along the way. How do we teach the children who are making the poor choices, and how do we teach the kids who are recipients of those poor choices?
The anti-bullying talk was part of a regular monthly presentation series put on by the Lloydminster Catholic School Division. Well, it was a moment 35 years in the making, and it helped an entire culture celebrate. Kyle Gallagher was at the unveiling of the Lloydminster Metis Housing Group's commemorative mosaic this afternoon and has more.
Eunice Dupont was more than happy to take a picture with her contribution to the border city's newest piece of art. The senior has been living in the Lloydminster Metis Housing Group for the last 2 years, and along with other residents, staff and board members, was on hand for the unveiling of the mural.
Everybody had to bring out their feelings as to what they wanted to put and what it meant to them. And you just put your heartfelt thanks for what they're doing for us.
And we wanted something that would be a little bit more immortalizing and be there forever, and that would commemorate the 35 years of incorporation.
Local artist Raylene Lake was in charge of the project and says working on the mosaic for the last 4 months has been a fulfilling experience.
I got to work with each one of the people as they brought forward their story and their feelings and their thoughts, and I was able to help them to get it out there onto a tile.
For Dupont, that feeling was serenity.
It's so peaceful. It's just, for me, it's peaceful. It's just wonderful to go into my nice little duplex and relax.
When Sandra Brown looks at the artwork, she's filled with pride and says it couldn't have turned out any better.
Hopefully it will always, the same messages will always carry through truth for Lloydminster Metis Housing, being a sense of community and a sense of home, that we don't just rent houses, that we like a sense of community and home and belonging.
We're a nation that's never been looked at. We've never been part of. We're not white, we're not Indian. So this makes us somebody.
Kyle Gallagher, Newcap News.
The French language and culture has always played a role in Canadian history and continues to do so to this day. As we see in this week's Beyond the Classroom, students at École Saint-Thomas are taking on the challenge of learning in a second language.
Et dites pourquoi que vous pensiez que le français est une...
Principal Lisa Marie Crease spent some time catching up with students at École Saint-Thomas. It's a fun little grammar lesson, all taught in French.
Ne apprend pas aussi bien les prononciations.
École Saint-Thomas is the only French immersion school in Lloydminster. All subjects are taught in French, except for English language arts, gym, and band.
When we first came to school, half of it was kind of in English and half in French, but we learned little by little, and I'm confident now with French.
Well, at the beginning it was because I didn't really know any, but you started really slow and just learned a couple words to start, but then they taught you more and more, and they taught you to read in French and everything, so yeah, it got easier.
These students say at first it was a tough concept to grasp, having to learn their subjects in a second language. But now they're fluent in French, and they realize the opportunities they have now that they are bilingual.
That like helps me with my job skills. It'll access a part of your brain that can be accessed only by learning a second language, and that's pretty cool.
It opens up a lot of opportunities for your job, and anywhere you want to travel, you can like translate for anyone else that you have with you, and talk with the people that live there in case they don't speak your language.
Majority of the students are not Francophone, so they are usually only speaking and reading French at school.
Well, I think sometimes it can be a little hard in French because it can be confusing, but when you practice more French, it gets easier and easier along the way.
Moi, je suis Jaden et vous regardez Newcap News.